Gervonta Davis just crazily offered Jake Paul out for a fight. Boxing is no stranger to drama, but what's happening between Gervonta Davis and Jake Paul is on a whole new level. This isn't just another fight feud, it's a clash of worlds. On one side, we have Gervonta Tank Davis, a respected champion with a flawless record, and on the other side is Jake Paul, a social media superstar turned boxer, who's polarizing the sport with his flashy antics and ability to draw attention like no one else. Gervonta's message was simple: Jake's approach to boxing is disrespectful, and he's had enough.
Gervonta Davis just posted that he would beat the brakes off of you if you guys fight.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be down. Let's run it. Like, I'll be super, super down. I don't know if
Gervonta needs Jake Paul. Let's be clear, right?
Is there a height limit in boxing?
But Jake, being Jake, didn't take this line down. He clapped back in a press conference mocking Gervonta's height and claiming he'd be the aside in any potential fight. The audacity, some fans ate it up, while others were left shaking their heads. How could a YouTuber turned boxer even think about positioning himself above a proven champion like Gervonta Davis? And it's not just Gervonta who's got a bone to pick with Jake. Fighters like Artur Beterbiev and Daniel Dubois have thrown their names into the mix, each challenging Jake to step into the ring and prove his worth against real competition. Add to that the backlash Jake received after his controversial fight with Mike Tyson, and it's clear that he's walking a fine line between being a showman and alienating the boxing world entirely. Man been boxing for 12 years, has over 100 fights between amateur and pro, and fought on my undercard. Hey, I'm going to have Nisa talk to Frankie Warren and get you in line for the throne. Unlike our tour, at least you have a few thousand fans.
David, we were talking about Jake Paul earlier. He has his eyes at 175 champion Beterbiev now, and Daniel Dubois wants to fight him. I'm curious, what would a fight between you and Jake look like? Would it get out of the first round, or?
Jake is my friend, but I don't know. What do you think would win?
Gervonta Tank Davis is a name that commands respect in the boxing world. Undefeated with a record full of knockouts, Davis has earned his stripes in a sport where nothing comes easy. He's known for his explosive power, sharp technique, and an ability to silence critics with every punch he throws. But when it comes to Jake Paul, Gervonta isn't holding back, not in the ring, and certainly not with his words. When Gervonta publicly stated that he'd fight Jake Paul in the streets, it wasn't just hyperbole, it was a sign of real frustration. For years, Jake has been climbing the boxing ladder in his own way, fighting a mix of celebrities, MMA fighters, and aging legends. And while he's undeniably brought attention to the sport, he's also rubbed many of its purists the wrong way.
What's up, y'all? Hey, we saw what happened tonight. Mike came out, gave it all he had. Legs, you can tell, weren't really with him tonight, so it was a little bit difficult. But thank God Jake didn't knock him out, because I would have felt bad for Jake, because Andre Ward was definitely going to go after Jake if he did knock Tyson out. So thank God he didn't. Thank God everybody ended up healthy, happy. Now I ain't got to worry about Andre coming out of retirement no time soon. So we all.
Jake's antics represent everything that's wrong with this new era of boxing. He sees Jake as someone who hasn't paid his dues, someone who's more interested in selling pay-per-views than respecting the traditions of the sport. And that's where the tension lies. Gervonta has fought his way to the top through blood, sweat, and tears. Jake, on the other hand, has built his career on bravado and spectacle. Jake's recent fight with Mike Tyson seems to have been the final straw for Gervonta, watching a 57-year-old Tyson step into the ring with a much younger Jake Paul, only for Jake to brag about the victory, struck a nerve. Gervonta's message to Jake was loud and clear: you've gone too far, and it's time to face someone real.
Netflix on Friday night, Jake Paul, Mike Tyson?
Yes, I was. But what did I make of it? I think commercially and a business sense, thought it was absolutely fantastic. Both men made a ton of money. So best luck to them. Congratulations. As far as the boxing fight, it wasn't a fight. It was a tip and tap. Don't hit me, I won't hit you. Circle the ring a little bit. Make it look good.
But let's not forget who Gervonta Davis is. This isn't just some fighter looking for attention. This is a man who's known for letting his fists do the talking, a champion who's knocked out 27 of his 29 opponents. If Jake were to step into the ring with Gervonta, the odds wouldn't just be stacked against him, they'd be overwhelming. And yet it's not just about who would win, it's about what this fight represents for Gervonta. This isn't just a chance to shut Jake up, it's an opportunity to stand up for boxing itself. But will Jake rise to the challenge, or will he keep dodging dance callouts while claiming to be the king of the ring?
Subscription, right? It wasn't pay-per-view. And B, pretty good night of fights leading up to that point. And what did you want? Did you want Tyson to get brutally knocked out? Did you want him stretchered? Because guess what? Those same people would have said, oh, he murdered him. He murdered him. What did you want? You wanted Tyson to knock out Jake? And then they would have said, oh, the fix is in. Like, it's a lose-lose. But ultimately, what I think people are missing is that was a 65 million households around the world watched boxing on a Friday night on Netflix on the biggest streaming platform. No one got hurt. It was somewhat competitive to a degree. Where's the problem? That's the part that I don't understand. Where's the problem?
If there's one thing Jake Paul knows how to do, it's stir the pot after Gervonta fiery comments went viral. Jake wasted no time firing back at a press conference packed with reporters. Jake walked in with his signature confidence, some would call it arrogance, and turned the moment into a spectacle. Height limit in boxing, he said with a grin, sending the room into a mix of laughter and awkward silence. It was a jab aimed squarely at Dan's 55 frame, and while some fans found it funny, others called it disrespectful. But for Jake, it wasn't just a joke, it was a calculated move designed to shift the narrative and keep the attention on himself. Jake didn't stop there. He doubled down, claiming that he'd be the aside in any negotiations with Jant. In boxing terms, being the aside means you're the bigger draw, the one who brings in more fans, more money, and ultimately calls the shots. For Jake to say this about Gervonta, a proven champion, was nothing short of audacious.
What happened with Mike Tyson? What do you think the blowback from that victory that he had last Friday night will be?
Well, you know, Jake Paul has shown that he has the ability to generate revenue. And that's why I'm sure that most of these top guys in and around that weight class, inside the boss man, in and around that weight class, is looking forward.
That said, the idea that Gervonta needs Jake feels like a stretch. Gervonta has spent years building his reputation in the ring, taking on tough opponents, and proving himself against the best. Jake, by comparison, is still seen by many as a novice, a showman who's good at selling fights but untested. Against real competition, Jake's response didn't sit well with everyone. Critics were quick to point out the arrogance of his claims, calling them a slap in the face to fighters who've dedicated their lives to the sport. But that's exactly what makes Jake Paul so polarizing. He knows how to keep the spotlight on himself, even if it means ruffling a few feathers along the way. Gervonta Davis isn't the only one who's had enough of Jake Paul over the past year. Jake's antics have put him on the radar of several high-profile fighters, each eager to test his mettle in the ring. Among them are two particularly dangerous names, Artur Beterbiev and Daniel Dubois.
A fight? I mean, is that serious? Like, where are we at? Where are we at with that?
Oh, look, you know, no one can offer any fights on behalf of Daniel except me and Queensbury. That's number one. Number two, would we do that fight in a heartbeat? Would Jake do it? No, I don't think. It's certainly not ready to be fighting a Daniel Dubois. But you know what? It is what it is. And Daniel's next fight, he's been up the office today. And Daniel's next fight will be sorted out very, very soon, as we said at the start of the interview.
Artur Beterbiev is a fighter who needs no introduction, with an undefeated record and a reputation as one of the hardest punchers in the sport. Beterbiev is a nightmare matchup for anyone, so when he expressed interest in fighting Jake Paul, fans were quick to point out the obvious: Jake wouldn't stand a chance. But TV's power, precision, and experience make him a completely different level of opponent than anyone Jake has faced before. Then there's Daniel Dubois, a heavyweight contender known for his knockout power, an aggressive style. Unlike Beterbiev, who's more reserved in his callouts, Dubois took to Instagram to issue a direct challenge to Jake. His message was clear: step into the ring and let's see what you've really got. Dubois's promoter, Frank Warren, didn't hold back either. Jake would be in a lot of trouble, Warren said in an interview, making it clear that Dubois wouldn't be pulling any punches. The implication was obvious: if Jake takes this fight, it could end very badly for him.
He's gone from being a YouTuber to actually taking out a licensed box. He's fought licensed fighters. He fought Tommy Fury, got beat in a, I'd say it's a very close contest, but there weren't a lot in the fight at a certain stage of it. And he's done brilliant well. What he's done, he's monetized his, if you want to call it, notoriety of his former background as being, was it a prankster or candid camera, as we called it in my day. He's done all that. He's done that brilliantly and very cleverly. And the fight that they did, or the event, I should say, they did at the weekend, was a bloody good event. There was some good fights on the card. The main event was what it was. And would he fight Daniel Dubois? If he did, I'm being very honest, if he did, that would probably be the end of his career as a boxer. He's not ready for a Daniel Dubois.